bell sounds and we are off and running at High Tension 2014. Our opening bout pits a very enraged Lee Valiant going one-on-one against the resilient rookie, now in his sophomore year as a pro, Show Smooth Chris Lee. Brad Stutts and Cecil Unpopular Opinion Scott are in the booth. And C-Bear, when we talk about the theme and the concept of high tension, is there anyone on the CWF roster that has been more tense and more high-strung in recent weeks than Lee Valiant?
No, absolutely not. I would go so far as to say he's the most dangerous man on the roster right now, and a dangerous veteran at that, as we just saw right there.
Valiant with a neck breaker. Chris Lee is down. The story that I think is going to develop over time here is we're going to see that meanness, that viciousness that's inside of Valiant, and we're going to have to see how Chris Lee can combat that.
Right, and I think the big thing for Lee Valiant, though, is that when is he finally going to really crack? He's already starting to as it is. No, his mental state is very fragile right now.
Big shot. Chris Lee, only about, well, I guess 18 or 19 months as a pro, but has already had some very high-profile bouts. He's fought the likes of Ric Converse, fought the likes of, Chet Sterling, and that rivalry that has been going on for months and months, where we really saw two rookies who started at the bottom of the card and worked their way up into what turned out to be some very high-profile matchups between those two rookies.
Right, it was almost a proverbial foot race between those two to see who would get to the top first. It is a dead heat. And Chris Lee, unfortunately, just met that ring post really hard. And Lee Valiant, of course, is going to look to pick that shoulder apart at this point.
The tenacity of Chris Lee will be tested here. He just rang Valiant's bell with that kick.
And Lee Valiant, he's wrestling almost like he's really, kind of wound tight right now. I mean, of course, Kazi beat him at the last show.
A matchup that was months, if not years, in the making. And Kamakazi Kid got the victory. Lee Valiant was embarrassed in a matchup that he tried so hard for so long to avoid. He's got to shrug off that embarrassment now, or else it could happen again. Valiant hooking off the top and just slings Chris Lee hard down to the canvas. I know Lee Valiant really well. I've spent a lot of time with him over the years, and nothing against Chris Lee at all, but I'm talking about from Lee Valiant's perspective. To take a loss here against a guy that I'm sure Valiant sees as a young lion, as an up-and-comer, that would be the ultimate embarrassment for someone.
Is this what you got for me? Huh? Is this what you got for me?
Screaming over here at me, calling Chris Lee a news guy. Chris Lee is the traffic anchor for WXII out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. But Cecil, you know as well as I do, this guy is not trying to backdoor his way into wrestling at all. Chris Lee is here in the dojo. He's sweating with the rookies. He's working out every single day trying to better himself at this craft of professional wrestling. And I think for Lee Valiant to say that he was wrestling a newsman is incredibly condescending and not giving Chris Lee the respect that he deserves for how hard he's worked whatsoever.
No, but it's not at all surprising. He's been on Facebook and Twitter all week saying the same thing. And Chris Lee, you're absolutely right, doesn't try to live off of his name. I've been in the ring with him. He works his butt off. And, of course, he always has the support of everybody here in the Sportatorium.
Crowd here. Rallying behind him, but again, that viciousness. Oh, God, the leg drop from Valiant. That's going to crush the sternum of Chris Lee. And not only that, it's going to send the back into that hardest part of the ring, that edge of the ring.
Right, I think just an observation. Lee Valiant's got a really bad situation where he's worried about everything in the world at the same time. He stops kicking Chris Lee to come over here and jaw jack with you. He's looking for you on the way to the ring.
Completely ridiculous. Whatever vendetta that Lee Valiant has in his mind against me is ridiculous and one-sided. I'm here to put on the best possible events for the great fans here in Gibsonville and the great fans that are joining us here at ondemand.cwf247. And for Valiant to insinuate that anybody here in the office, so to speak, has got something against him is ridiculous.
Well, Chris Lee's got something against him going for that tornado DDT.
Didn't get it, and Valiant just took his head off, rode him all the way down to the canvas. And you see now the intensity and the fire and the focus in those eyes of Lee Valiant.
Man, that was one hell of a lariat there. And Lee Valiant's so good at just turning the match right back around. He's so smart. I mean, like his attitude or not, he's one of the smartest guys in the ring you'll see.
Firing away now. And this is where what we talked about earlier is going to come into play. How much does Chris Lee have in the reserves? How much of a beating from a former Mid-Atlantic champion can he take?
And he kind of went to the well once too often there. I kind of liked his game plan. The arm was hurting him, so he was headbutting him in the midsection, but Lee kind of read it the third time.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do. Any strike that can create some distance is what you're going to have to do in a situation like that.
It was, some good fundamental wrestling by Lee Valiant, just assessing the situation and turn it right back around. And hard elbows and forearms. And Chris Lee, give him credit. He's taking a lot of punishment here. Now, as Lee Valiant, we've seen in the past, he'll get a little frustrated if he can't put a guy away.
Shot to the body from Chris Lee might have created some opening. Still kicking away.
That's what Chris has to do, use those feet. Oh, nice spinning back kick. Very hard kick to pull off.
We're seeing the slugger coming out of Chris Lee here. Chris Lee, Samoan dropped him hard. Chris Lee a lot of times is known for those quickness, finesse moves, but we're seeing him having to throw some real bombs here to try to stop the onslaught from Lee Valiant.
Well, he's in the deep end of the pool here. Let's call it what it is. And they were the former heavyweight champion, one of the greats of CWF Mid-Atlantic.
Yeah, and that's the thing that cannot be understated, is Valiant, despite, Soul Food takes Valiant down. I was going to say, as good as he is, as good as he thinks he is, Valiant is pretty damn good, but he might get upset right here. Cover from Chris Lee, 2-2. I may have spoke a little too soon there, Cecil Scott. I'll put you on the spot here. If Chris Lee wins this thing, do you call it an upset?
Oh, absolutely. I like Chris Lee. I respect the kid and all, but we're talking about, like I said, one of the greats.
And as good as he thinks he is, I don't know about that, but Lee Valiant's pretty damn good. Like you said, former champion here multiple times over, was just tag team champions with Kazi a few months back. He's won a lot of big matchups.
Crossbody.
Caught him on it. Got him 1, 2. Only got 2.
And Chris Lee, very smart. He hooked with the right arm that time. On that previous pin attempt, he hooked with the left arm and couldn't hold him.
Duck the leg.
Man.
Woo! Rung his bell. Valiant may be concussed. And caught him with another one. Chris Lee is showing us what he's got here. Cover. Woo! Near fall. Valiant almost. I thought for a second there that Valiant was absolutely knocked out from those big kicks.
What a breathtaking series of moves by Chris Lee there. And I feel like if he was going to do it, that was going to be the time. And Lee Valiant's on Dream Street right now.
Man, I said a few minutes ago how Chris Lee is showing us what kind of a slugger he can be, what kind of a striker he can be, and he has really leveled Lee with some of those big kicks.
Setting up.
Oh gosh.
Oh, no.
Valiant is walking around with them and blasts him. Absolutely drilled him with the Liger Bomb.
Man, that was just straight smarts and experience right there. Chris Lee may have overestimated the situation. It looked like he was going for a Hurricane Rana.
Or maybe underestimated the strength in Valiant. Valiant, I think, goes about 5'10", but he's a solid 215, 220, and he was able to absolutely hulk the weight of Chris Lee up on his shoulders, and literally he carried Chris Lee around until he was ready to drop him. Tremendous show of power there.
Man, great move, great power, and Lee Valiant still trying to shake the cobwebs loose.
Yeah, Valiant got his bell rung by them kicks, but now he is in firm control.
And you'll see oftentimes in a prize fight, guys will get their bell rung, and it takes a good 2 or 3 rounds to shake it off. Oh!
Another big kick from Chris Lee. Valiant goes to the floor, but he only went to the apron, the edge of the apron.
But it's still a good, good position to be in. He can't get pinned out there.
Able to save himself, and also you save the wear and tear of your body of taking a bad crash to the floor like that. Oof. Could be that slingshot spear. Chris Lee's got to be aware of it. No, did not get it. Sunset. Whoa, Chris Lee's on top. And he beat him. Holy cow, Chris Lee with an upset. Chris Lee beats Lee Valiant. 1, 2, 3 right in the center. Look at the look on Valiant's face.
He is incredulous. Watch out, Chris.
37 seconds to win. Chris Lee.
Valiant on top of Chris Lee.
What a sore loser.
And listen to the people get on Valiant's case here. Oh, he sends Chris Lee to the floor, completely uncalled for. Wait a minute, hold on. Richards and Miller just walked right past us here. Richards and Miller just walked past us.
Oh,
what the hell?
Richards with a chair is not something I like seeing.
Wait, they've got the, what do they do? Holy, it's gonna, oh God, it's gonna be that DDT, Cecil.
Oh, not on the.
That crippling DDT, no.
Where's Aaron Biggs?
He's, oh God. Oh, right on the head.
Oh God. We got to get help. We got a fight out here on the floor. Chris Lee, we need help for Chris Lee. We need help.
Crusher is my favorite training.